Here's the story of a bearish trader who was selling into every single bounce. All his orders hit the bid, such a sucker. Sometimes you buy the dip. It's the story of a bullish trader who was buying each down tick he saw. He averaged down and rarely stopped out on the edge of blowing up. Until one day they subscribed to Routine Trader and realized they can do both buy and sell. That there are two sides to Mr. Market, and beating him both ways is pretty swell. Yeah, pretty swell, so very swell. Beating Mr. Market both ways is pretty swell.
Cheers to Independence Day, July 5th, because every day is Independence Day here at Puppet Show Central. I'm Mastro, and this is your routine briefing. Lots going on today, so I'm going to jump right into it. We're going to switch screens and see what we got going on for today. So we're going to start with what I think is actually the best looking underlying for today. Unfortunately, or fortunately, if anybody is already involved, is we did kind of get that breakout first move for the open at 9, so oil opens at 9. But I've been watching this for a couple weeks now, and we're finally breaking above this major resistance here. I'm going to see what happens at RTH open, but I am primed to get involved in our friend oil. Kind of what we saw in the SPOOs, very similar looking pattern. You have that inverse head and shoulder look, except this one goes back a little bit farther. So if I go to the longer term chart, I'm going to show you what I mean here. So you can see that this breakout that we're kind of trying to put in right now is this descending triangle that really began, I would say in earnest, the resistance would be kind of around March, and this major support there kind of around May. So this is looking to be a pretty decent breakout. That's why I got it. I'm watching for it. I'm really looking for that rebid. If you look at the RSI just on the 1 minute chart right now, it's really, which is what I use for my execution, it's really quite high. So I'm looking for a rebid of that opening range, and that's really going to be my main underlying for today. So I'm going to get that set up here. Go back to the 15-minute chart, get that execution going, and the market opens here in about 6 minutes. So I want to be ready for that just in case. So let's get the oil execution chart here, and I'm going to talk about, obviously, the favorite of all of us for our retail trading needs, and that is the equities. In just a sec, I just want to make sure all of this is good to go. So I just stand by here. Let me make sure my trade copying is enabled. All that good stuff. So waiting here, like I said, I want to see a rebid. The lower the better would be nice, but obviously they're breaking out right now, so we may have to reevaluate that. So really I should have gotten in at about 71.40. Again, pretty easy look if you go on the 15-minute chart here. You can see we had that nice little reversal 2 trigger right here. So we'll see. Like I said, everything's super hot right now. Everybody's seeing the same thing. Watch for that breakout. So hopefully there'll be a little fake out first. We can get that rebid. And that's what I'm looking at in the oil department. So again, let me just get a trade copying going here. Should have done this before the briefing, of course, but that's okay. So as we kind of wait here, I'm just going to point out a couple changes going on for the newsletter. So I'm going to start sending it out pretty much right after the market opens, right after I finish this briefing, and get that for you there. I'm going to include a portion that just kind of goes over the major points, exactly what I'm looking at for today. So there's no confusion, and it's less of a summary of what's going on and more of a useful tool, I hope. So just got to add all 20 accounts to this trade copier. I had it done on the structure chart, but I didn't have it done in this chart, looks like, so no problem. All right, let's do a check, make sure we're good to go, and then we'll move on to equities. We'll split at 71, make sure it all pops up. There we go, okay, we're good to go. So we're going to flatten that. Like I said, I want to wait for the RSI to cool off a little bit, wait for a fake out. Maybe we don't get the fake out, and if that's the case, so be it. So I will still be looking to jump in there. That is, I think, the trade of the day. So if we look at our equities, and if you, by the way, I'm not going to go over USO on daily and weekly just because it's getting close to market open, but there is confluence there as well. No surprise with the futures. So looking at ES, really what I'm looking at here, again, so I updated all my mechanics in that routine day trade document, which you can find in the description of this video if you go to that folder. And I also added my mechanics around this, I'm calling it R3, reclaim, rotation, runner, R cubed, for you math people. And for that trade today, really what I'm looking for is going to be a reclaim of this 72 area here. And if we get that with a little bit of gusto, I will put that trade on pretty quickly. But you can see the major ES levels here. If you look at the newsletter, I have them detailed for the SPY for you. But really, the crux of it is I'm looking for, obviously, continuation. We make a new high, no rocket science there. This 441 to 438 on the SPY, I think that zone in between is pretty much untradeable. There's a really large gap. I'm not sure if that's called a value gap. I'm not sure what you'd call it, but there's a large gap on that chart. And I'll just look at it real quick here as the market prepares to open. You can see right here, this rectangle. That's a junky zone for me. So I'm not too interested in getting engaged around there, but I do like the first rebid here of 441 on the SPY. And so I'm looking for that reclaim there. That's really that R cube trade. And just one more thing here. On the Qs, I'm looking for kind of those bullish reversal type trades. I'm going to wait for the first minute here. So 931, potentially looking to get involved there as well in the Qs. So those are just going to be straight candles. Again, you can see those mechanics in that document. Really, for the Qs today, we still haven't made that higher high, so I do actually like potentially playing some strength in there, and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this briefing just for now, just so I can get that newsletter out, and it will be a little earlier as it goes on here, but I'm going to do these before the market. I'm going to move to Twitch for that live trading, and I'll follow up with a newsletter. Like I said, we'll have actionable stuff for the trading day itself. So please give the video a like if you found it useful. Market just opened. You can hear the bell in the background, and we're going to get going here. So I thank you for your attention, and I hope that you stay classy.